work this time. Let me refresh everything, check out on my phone. I may or may not be streaming, I'm not sure yet. Let me see. Alrighty, come on now. Nothing going to work right tonight. It's saying I'm live, but it's not showing I'm live. It's saying I'm live. There we go. Good deal. I'm hoping that everything has followed through now. So, with that in mind, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to a long overdue episode of the Fellowship of the Ring of Protection. This is plus 12, so as you probably see, it's been a bit of a hot minute since last time I've done one of these. I am currently in the middle of recreating Anglovan and a particular part of Anglovan, and it's probably the most important part that we're going to have tonight. Basically treat this as kind of a let's sit here and go through the creative process together. Now, those of you sometimes look for good software to use for your games, be they free, online, offline, whatever. If you want a good online resource, hexfriend.net, as you can see in the address bar, is an excellent place. Is an excellent place to do a hex map on. And just to go over a little bit of the things real quick, if you want larger hexes to overlay the smaller hexes, you can definitely do that. You can color, you can thicken the grids. The hexes you can turn into the pointed tops and bottoms, or you could leave it as flat tops. You can adjust the width and the height. You can also choose either between the hex flower or square. I've elected to use the hex flower for the sake of simplicity. Plus, like each layer you add on will grow, of course, the map itself. Now, you won't actually have a traditional map in terms of something that you would see in a textbook necessarily, but this will get the job done. And if I'm not mistaken, you can actually, if you're one of these people that uses VTT or something like that, you can actually put a link. I believe it's possible to do like a virtual tabletop with this particular program for HexMap. Coordinates, you could always show coordinates, so you don't have to label things like I've done here. You can always just click that and it shows the coordinates. So if you like to do that, again, that old school way, you could of course do that. For those of you that would like to overlay things and then try to base a map off of an image that you have downloaded, have saved onto your computer, you can certainly do that. Tile sets I'm not very familiar with. Like, I just use a standard basic tile set. I use the defaults and everything like that. Also has a generator. You can also generate a random map if you really wanted to. Although, in my personal opinion, it doesn't really look that organic. It looks kind of wonky in some places. There's no, how should I put this? There's no real biosphere that makes logical sense, so to speak. So, like, I kind of avoid using it. I don't use it as much as some people might choose to do, but maybe you're different. So this is a particular section of Yarun or of Anglovan that I'm going to be starting players out in whenever I get my games up and running again. We could see the starting town of Yarun. I've made it a coastal town with some hills to the northwest and a couple to the south and southeast, forest to the southwest with some hills and some mountains in the forest. And I've placed a handful of locations, and I of course placed a river running just outside, and the road has there's going to be a bridge right here. There's some connecting trails to the main roads to go to a place like Fallen Farron or Garvin's Rest. With that in mind, I also have another program. It's totally free that you can use. This is usually what I do for note taking, and that is OpenOffice. Because you can have basically what comes down to a free version of Microsoft Word. And you can use Times New Roman. However, if you were really looking for that old school look, you can always download other fonts like I have elected to do. And we'll just say we'll just put down campaign, right? And I'm hoping I didn't lose signal again, because my phone is lagging pretty far behind what the program is. I'm going to make sure. Real quick, where in the forest? Okay, yeah, it's still pretty far behind. So, if you're going to be commenting, feel free, by the way, to comment. Battle axe. Let's see here. Put that out of the way. Aha, notifications. I want to turn that off because I don't want. You're watching a computer illiterate person. No, don't show. No, I don't want anything shown, especially while I'm streaming. But okay. Anyway, you get to watch me be a boomer for a little bit and figure out how a computer works. So anyway, campaign. So we've got. We're going to just, of course, call this Anglovan, which has been the name of my world for quite a while now. So we're going to go over that. So we're going to start with settlements and key locations. So with that done, we'll switch over to regular Saltane. But for example, we have Yarun. And I'm going to again, you get to watch me be a boomer about this stuff for a bit. So you get to watch me struggle with the computer, figure out how it works. By the way, if you plan on chatting, which I do, of course, encourage, by the way, Um, so definitely feel free to comment if you wish. But we're going to be putting down some ideas. Just realize that falling foreign. Just realize that it probably won't be quite in real time. There is quite a bit of a delay. So you get to watch the drafting process. Dungeon of the Forsaken Oaks. We also have the Craven Keep. Again, for those of you that don't know, I'm definitely not a typist. I peck more than I do anything. And of course we have Garvin's Rest. Garvin's Rest. So, I may get some bites tonight, I may not. I don't know. I'm just doing it mostly for content. Haven't done it in a while, and I like to put things out there because I think we have enough tips and tricks videos out there. Some of my most well received have been things where people have watched me brainstorm, and so on and so forth. So we have Yell Run. We're going to make it very simplistic. It's a village. Villages are typically not too big. They're bigger than, say, the Keep on the Borderlands, which is quite a small settlement. Let's pull out the die. And we're going to say it's going to have... you know what? I want to try to keep some form of fairly simple verisimilitude, right? You get to see where I've messed around with ChatGPT. I try to make it infinitely loop a text, but it didn't work out too well. Anyway, medieval village populations size. Yeah, that'll work. So what is a typical one? Okay, so I'll tell you what, because I hate the fact that for whatever reason I can do this on Chrome, but it's still Google. Medieval demographics. Okay, here, Don John's a good resource to use. I didn't even realize I had that. Okay, so that's a principality. So we're going to say a pretty low one. So about 40 persons. Which that's a pretty conservative view. So we're going to take a D4. How big is Yaran? Because we're going to make it D4 times 10. And if I think it's too low, we'll take it from there. But we want to try to make this as believable as possible, right? Okay, yeah, 10 is, in my opinion, far too low. So I want a good conservative number, but I, of course, don't want this place to be, like, I don't want a whole bunch of NPCs to have to manage. So, you know what? We're going to say that it is about... we're going to say it's 20 plus... Let's roll a d20. Okay, 21. village of 21 people, and we'll fill that out later. Fallen Foreign, a abandoned, ruined village of antiquity. So we got that going on. The Dungeon of the Forsaken Oaks, we're going to say, is we'll come back to that one because I'm not sure what I want to do with that. Craven Keep. Old military fortification captured by, and we'll leave that blank, and Garvin's Rest, grave of a grave of an important person of some kind. And of an old thief. That sounds like a pretty good one. So, Forsaken Oaks. Mysterious. Let's see. It's mysterious. It's in the woods. What would live in the woods? Monsters, obviously. But is there any rhyme or reason to why those monsters were there? Were they civilized or not? And so this is another part of my brainstorming process. I don't really have a table for it. I simply take a percentile die. There's a 50% chance that yes, these were intelligent monsters that live here at one point. No, there's a 50% chance that no, there wasn't. So 1 to 50 will be a yes. 51 to 100 will be a no, that they're not intelligent. We have yes. So, we are going to consult. I'm going to bring out my trusty old BFRPG Omnibus. And we are going to look at the tables in the back for wilderness encounters. And we're going to look in the forest for monsters, the forest section for monsters that may or may not be, that are intelligent. Grassland, inhabited, jungle, mountains, river, swamp, woods, or forest. There we go. Okay. So, so here's what we got. Okay. So we're going to bring up the little note section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to type in from the list on the Wandering Monster table for wilderness encounters, those that are intelligent. Dragon, green. We have, I don't think an alicorn would make a place like this, although it's not out of the question. But let me consult the monster description real quick, and then try to make a rational decision on this. I'm sorry, by the way, I'm trying to fiddle with my microphone. They only attack when defending themselves or their forests. Well, I mean, alicorns. how intelligent are alicorns? Because I've never actually ran an alicorn before. I think the jury is out on that, but what I will do is I will add an asterisk. So, alicorn slash unicorn, and we'll add an asterisk right next to it. Following on, we also have a treant. Orc. Okay, that's an animal. Ogre. Ogre would be another good choice. An owlbear wouldn't be a hill giant. That would be good. Giant hill. Okay, so that's what we've got going so far. So we are going to roll a d6. And if the result is an alicorn slash unicorn, we'll try to interpret it accordingly. It is not an alicorn or unicorn. Instead, it will indeed be a hill giant. Mysterious dungeon built by a clan of hill giants. Now, the Craven Keep, fortifications captured by... okay, the Craven Keep is in a forested mountain. So what we're going to do is, with our trusty little notebook here, boop, we're going to delete all that. And we're going to take the tables from both mountains and forests, and we're going to come up with a result based upon that. We have a dragon white. We also have... rocks are not really the kind that would do that, and I don't think... yeah, displacers wouldn't be in the question. Lycanthrope, werewolf. That might be a good hook for that. I don't know. Orc would be another one. We also have another hill giant. We also have a dragon red. And going back, we also have dragon green. We have the alicorn slash unicorn, and we'll process that accordingly. We also have treant. We already have the orc, so we're not going to put him down there twice. Well, yeah, you know what? We'll put him down there twice. Because why not, right? I do like to include things twice on random tables. Ogre. And a hill giant. Giant hill. Okay, so we have, how many creatures do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have a problem because there is no D11. So what could we do? Well, we could take 2d6s, and suddenly our numbers get skewed towards a more different approach. Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we'll simply take the 2d6s and roll them and see what would come up based upon the result. A result of 7, so this is a green dragon by a green dragon. This is shaping up to be a very dangerous place. So now we have established some monsters to these two, although this doesn't explain much yet, but it can in time. What would ruin Faron? Take it off the map. Well, I guess we're going to play a little bit around once more. Faron is on a plane. So, what we can do is consulting what used to be inhabited territories. We'll take 2d8s for the table, and we have come up with a result of 7, which is very fitting because that means it was taken by bandits. Sounds right. And I think, of course, a good old-fashioned beginning adventure wouldn't be complete without that. Now, this comes down to how dangerous do we want this Okay, so let's look at a table of undead. Now, in Garvin's Rest, he's on a hill/forest. So, let's take a look at the hill/forest in the basic fantasy wilderness encounter. I'm using 3rd edition, page 145, by the way, if you want to follow along. Let's consult the hills. I don't see any particular undead there. And neither there. So we gotta come up with a best case scenario. It's fine because it's a graveyard anyway. So what would take this? So we are going to once again create a consolidated table. Instead of using page 145, we're going to skip back to page 144. And we're going to take ourselves a list of undead. skeleton. Ghoul. Zombie. Because this will color kind of my interpretation on this place, on what a fairly dangerous grave kind of area would be. Okay, so shadows I don't think are considered undead. Let me look up the ruling on that, because I believe shadows are not considered undead. They cannot be turned by a cleric, so we will not count shadows for this. We want something that can be turned by a cleric. Now, whites, on the other hand, I believe can be turned because they are undead. Yes, it is. So good. A white. This is shaping up to be a pretty rough little place. Wraith. Let's see. Mummy. Spectre. I've also misspelled Spectre. So there we go. And finally, I think the one that people have been waiting for, vampire. So how many undead are there? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A pretty nasty little baddie roster here. So let's simply take a D8 for white. That sounds about right. White. I'm sorry if I'm popping the microphone. A lot of these are pretty dangerous little locations, which finding is not always the answer. So, but the village of Yaran seems to have themselves a pretty nasty little problem here. So, what we're going to do now, we're going to do some brainstorming. So, a village of 21 people. Okay, cool. A village, a small village, and it is on the coast. By the way, each hex will equal 1 mile, so a small coastal village of fishermen. Pardon me, I need to mute the mic. Sorry if that's popping. I think you would prefer me to mute it rather than cough into the mic. Yalrun was established by Anglovan settlers in the early years of the reign of Duke Ramithon the First, of course. Okay. What else can we come up with this town? The village is overseen by a group within the by a group referred to as the Pillars. In reference to each member being a respected member of the small community. So, let's come back down here, skip down, and we'll go back to Saltine Black and factions. Because a faction can be anything, as long as it's a group of people with a common goal. The Pillars, and we'll flesh them out here in a little bit. Fallen Foreign. Once a beautiful and bustling town for transportation of goods and services. Foreign fell victim to raids from the wilderness. Now the populace has been replaced by a gang of bandits. So there's that brainstorming going on. So there's a hook. By the way, if anybody happens to watch, I saw I had a viewer a little bit ago. Feel free to chime in and interact. I understand this is not the most visually stimulating thing to watch, but you're basically watching my thoughts in real time. If you were just joining me, you probably missed me rolling the die, figuring out what was where. So, with that, we can delete this section. We're going to delete this section too, because that gives us a little bit more room to add more people and possibly get up to that 40 that I didn't think I could hit. But, a village can actually be bigger than just 40 people. It just seems to be the norm for small villages with medieval demographics. Okay. So, in the now we need to name the forest, and I don't want to call the forest the Forsaken Oaks. Let us consult the map once again and kind of brainstorm. In the what's a good name, or a decent name anyway? In the Black Oak Forest resides an ancient dungeon that was constructed by a clan of hill giants during the War of Iron River in the reign of Duke Ramathon the First. The giants are long slain, but the structure still resides within the forest, and we can come up with things about that later. Now, we have that taken care of. So we have some hooks. We have some ideas kind of going. We have the old thinking cap on, don't we? We thinked until we couldn't think no more. Alrighty, that's no being stupid. Alright. An old military keep that was built by Ramathon's military forces during the War of Iron River. The halls of the ancient, well, I don't want to date it that much. The halls of the keep now echo with the go away. That one kind of hurt. That one kind of hurt my ears a little bit. With the breath of okay, a green dragon, poison, venom, rep, Reptox. How old is this dragon? We're not coming up with any stats for him yet. But rather we want to age this dragon. How dangerous is this dragon? How new is this dragon? How recent is this dragon's homestead in this particular structure? Pardon me. Alrighty, so dragon. Gonna be an age category. Alright, so dragon encountered is equally likely to be a male from -2 to +3 hit dice. 2 are mated pair ranging. If 3 or 4 are encountered, then you know what? I'd say it's likely that this feller is indeed taken to trying to breed. Okay. So, green dragons initiate fights with little or no provocation, picking on creatures of any size. If the target is intriguing or seems formidable, the dragon stalks the creature to determine the best time to strike and the most appropriate tactics to use. If the target appears weak, the dragon makes its presence known quickly. It enjoys evoking terror. Green dragons especially like to question adventurers to learn more about their society and abilities, what is going on in the countryside, and if there's treasure nearby. Adventurers may be allowed to live so long as they remain interesting, but what to them when the dragon becomes bored? They're immune to poisons. So we are going to roll 2d4 because there's 7 age categories here. But if we add one more die, we make that 7 into an 8 and that 1 into a 2. So let's see what we have. This one is an adult. He's actually kind of old, to be honest with you. old green dragon of ill legend. That's a pretty nasty thing to have nearby a beginning town. So, going on down, I think we're doing alright. Then I'll probably call it a night, because I don't want to bore too many people, because I know that this is not exactly the most thrilling of videos. So, a white. And of course, I'm not married to any of these roles. I may end up tweaking everything, because it is quite dangerous. However, I think a white for this dungeon is a pretty good idea, as it is a hit die 3. However, I'm probably going to put some magic weapons and stuff that would help the players if they ever encounter it. Its appearance is twisted, a weird and twisted reflection of the form it had in life. White is about the height and weight of a human. Whites do not possess any of the abilities they had in life. If white touches or is touched by a living creature, that living creature suffers 1 level of energy drain. No saving throw is allowed. Striking white with a weapon does not count as touching it. Which, of course, it can only be harmed by magical or silver weapons, I believe. A humanoid slain by a white becomes a white by the next sunset. White spawn are under the command of the white that created them and remain enslaved until its death. So, I want Garvin to be this white, this head white. So, I think I have enough for that. I could put a description in later, but I want to thank you guys, anybody that tunes in, anybody that watches, anybody that gets feedback. I appreciate it.